When talking about different types of players versus different types of dungeon masters, there is something that we are forgetting in this conversation, and that is the fact that most players and most DMs have experienced playing with lots of different players. When I first read that article about different types of players or watched the Colville video about it, I remember thinking, I know every single one of these player types. I have played with all of them. I hadn't played that much or for that long, but they were all immediately obvious to me. But then in talking about Dungeon Masters, I remember thinking the first time I watched Matt Mercer DM, after I started playing, that was only the second Dungeon Master that I had ever seen run the game. I started with one DM, and then I started running the game, and I never get to see me run the game. I noticed I was different, but I was never really able to diagnose myself. And then I watched Matt do it, and then I go, okay, he's doing things differently than that other DM did. Do I like that? I don't know. Turn around here, actually. I think it's difficult to place yourself on the spectrum of what kind of player you are, except for the fact that you have lots of different experiences of other players. Every table has way more players than Dungeon Masters, so if you've ever run for a full table of players, you have, to some degree, experienced many of the different types of players. I mean, it's possible that your players are all min-maxers or whatever, but even at a table of all min-maxers, one of them is slightly more narrative focused or more of a storyteller, more of an audience member. So you don't have to DM that long to already know all the different kinds of players at your table. But how many DMs have you played with? Welcome to Mystic Arts, where even though it's winter in Iceland, the sun comes out every once in a while. My name is Daði, I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for over 11 years. This video is sponsored by Tome of Intangible Treasures 2. These intangible adventure rewards are designed to replace or supplement magic items in your game to ensure your characters continue to grow and develop throughout their journey from amateur adventurers to epic heroes. There are 512 pages of monsters and story-driven rewards. Ritual and harvesting rules to steal the powers of felled creatures, 300 new stat blocks, complete with lore and plot hooks, including CR variants for each of the 100 groups, allowing creatures to be fought by parties of any level. And if you know anything about how I design monsters, you know that is right up my alley. Overcharge effects that provide options to enhance boom and charms with risk-reward trade-offs, complete with a compatibility guide for use with D&D 2024, and Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting's Enchanting Systems. So if you like the sound of that, check the link in the description so they know who sent you. DungeonTube's coolest uncle, Matt Colville, just uploaded a video talking about different DM styles, relating it to an article about different types of players he read back in the day. And he did it while walking outside, and I've been meaning to do a video like this for ages, so now that I dragged my feet on it, I guess I'm the one who's copying Matt, but what else is new? So if you're watching this video and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, go check that out and then come back here and I'll continue yamming on while walking through Icelandic traffic in the morning. This is going to be full of cars. This is a bad idea to be walking here. Audio's going to be terrible. Look at that. Good view though. That's nice. Let's cross. Did you know that jaywalking is legal in Iceland? I watched that video and I thought a lot about it, and I've been thinking about why is it that we have these ideas for different types of players and we don't have as defined an idea of different types of DMs. And then I was reminded of the fact that whenever anybody starts an actual play, there's a whole group of people who want to dissect that Dungeon Master's style. They want to talk about why they run it this way instead of that way, what's different from this Dungeon Master to that Dungeon Master, and they want to compare and contrast. Did I just walk down a dead end? Oop. Okay, so why is it that they're comparing and contrasting? I think for many people are watching an actual play. They're watching a new Dungeon Master for the first time. For some of them, it is the first time they've ever seen any Dungeon Master. But even for people who've played, when they turn on Critical Role, they might be watching their second ever Dungeon Master. And it might not be until that moment where they hit upon the idea of going, oh, there's lots of ways to run the game. Of course, there's lots of different games, lots of different styles of play, lots of different cultures. Not everything has to be set-piece fantasy. But even within set-piece fantasy and 5th edition D&D, when you start watching other Dungeon Masters do it, you start to realize there are huge differences inside this narrow scope of what it is we all do for a hobby. And then naturally a group of that audience will go into the comment section and they'll say, oh, you know, this Matt runs it this way and that Matt runs it the other way. Brennan is so different from Matt because of X, Y, and Z, a kind of discussion that I have taken part in and made videos on because I think it's fascinating and we don't get to see that many DMs run the game. In fact, I think, excluding like a few West Marches sessions, I think I've only really properly played with 5 or 6 dungeon masters? I don't know, the number may be as high as 10, but even then I've played with what must be more than 100 players. Okay, jaywalking may be illegal, but I'm probably not gonna cross this roads illegally. That seems terrifying. Go, go, go. It was fine, there was nobody there. I mostly wanted to get to this view. Crossing the bike path onto the footpath. I think this is the view of one of the most driven roads in the city, and it's gorgeous. It's a little cloudy today, but God, I love living here. I really hope the audio is usable. There's a lot of traffic noise. I might have to go back into the city proper because this is loud. It's very loud. What is that? Oh, a crosswalk. Green means go. I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong about that. If you disagree, I mean, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm assuming that there are people out there who are like, I know lots of DMs and I can tell you what the styles of DM are. I don't know, I remain a little skeptical. So I keep thinking, you know, what are the different types of DM? Let's put aside the fact that it can be difficult to identify them because you might not have played with that many. But certainly people have different ideas and things they like and stuff they want to see in their fantasy. And when you're the DM, you get to do more of that deciding about what a game is like. And I think it can be very telling when somebody dungeon masters for the first time, especially if they've only got, you know, a handful of references. What is it they change? What is it they decide to do different than their references, than the people that they're used to watching or playing with? What is it that they feel like they're good at and what they feel like they're bad at? And I think a good dungeon master makes their campaign be about what they're good at while striving to improve what they don't think they have mastered quite as much. So for example, if you're the kind of dungeon master who also has experience in improv or acting or creative writing, you might decide that you're going to be a more theatrical DM than the one who's currently running the game, whenever it's your turn to run. And you might then lean into those strengths of yours and make something that you're excited to make something different in a way that excites you. And I think that's healthy. I think that's the best thing you can do. And you might feel insecure in running combat or world building or whatever it is. So that's where you're going to put your work, not your excitement. That's not the thing that's going to make you want to run the game. If you're putting in a bunch of work to try and shore up something that you don't feel confident in, that's not going to make you want to run the game. The thing that's going to make you want to run the game is the thing that you're excited about. You have to be excited first. Everybody else, they follow your excitement. So what are you excited about? I think that probably defines a lot of your campaigns, what your style is. I'm walking outside right now because I had a bunch of errands to run in a little window where I had to stay downtown and do nothing and to avoid getting stuck in rush hour traffic twice. And I was driving my girlfriend, AB, and I asked her, what is my style of play? What is true through all of my games? What is always true? Part of the thing Matt talked about is that, you know, DMs who run a lot of games, they run very different games. They get excited about different things. They change and develop, and they are different depending on what system they're running, but then whatever remains the same across all of that, that's your style. And the same is true about being a director. You watch someone like Christopher Nolan, he's made lots of different movies, and some of them are funnier than others, some of them are more mind-bendy, some of them are more emotional, and he's also made superhero movies. But every Christopher Nolan movie is Christopher Nolan's. They feel like his films. Same with David Fincher. Fincher's made murder mysteries and psychological thrillers, but they're all very intense. All of his movies are very intense. So is DM style defined by the things you want to do? Or is it defined by how you do the things all DMs do? The MCDM fan community made this sort of pie chart thing, or charting where you are on the DM style spectrum. I think that's a more nuanced view than a sort of list of which type of player are you. I said I have known players who fit into each of those roles. But I also feel like once I start to actually think about people as people and imagine them complexly, I think they don't fit neatly into any of those packets. They are a mix of many different parts of those ideas. You know, they're a little bit of a storyteller, a little bit of a min-maxer. And that doesn't mean they're less of either. You know, you aren't 100% a type or a style, and then you spend 30% in min-maxing and 30% in storytelling, and the remaining 40 you go into mad scientist. Like, it's not multi-classing, it's just what you like. Ooh, shed. Secret path through someone's backyard. Welcome to today's episode of Mystic Arts, where Daði breaks all the laws. This is a criminal channel now. Oh, I'm here. Oh, neat. I don't know if you can see it, but that's Hallgrímskirkja up there, which is our tallest building. Iceland is a Christian nation, even if it is a nation of atheists. One of the many contradictions of this country. And I think that's also true of Dungeon Masters. I think DMs and players and people are full of contradictions. I remember seeing that chart of where are you on this scale and thinking, I want to fill it all up. But that's not useful. That's not good communication. but there was nothing on that spectrum that I would rank myself lower in. I didn't want to rank myself down for combat just because I like world building and I like the theatrics. But I do like those things more than combat. I think I still love combat. I think it's awesome. I love fighting big, scary monsters in that kind of set-piece fantasy style of way. Some of my favorite sessions ever started with initiative and ended when initiative ended. These sort of finale boss fights. We take a break in the middle when the second phase of the boss activates. I think that's awesome. Looking at that chart, I thought I could easily plop down multiple different campaigns I've run on different styles of the spectrum. So I already wasn't believing in the idea of different types of DM styles. But I asked AB, because I was driving her like I told you earlier, and she said, all your games feature government conspiracies. And I laughed, and I thought that's not literally true. Many of them do. But then all of them kind of do a little. There's always something going on with the states of my setting, the nations that hold all the power. They're always up to something, because I really like grand conspiracy. And then I thought, I think that means I'd put world building as my sort of top pillar, and then maybe combat lower. If I'd had to choose 4 or 5 sessions with no combat, or 4 or 5 sessions with no theatrics, I'd choose 4 or 5 sessions with no combat. Easy. I wouldn't even think about it. So I guess that means I'd put combat lower than theatrics. I kept struggling with this, and then I came to the conclusion that that list of players isn't written by a player trying to identify themselves. No matter who writes the list, most of the time it's written by a dungeon master trying to identify the people they're trying to entertain. That list serves a purpose. It is sort of a way to communicate. A DM saying, these are the people I run the game for. How do I make them happy? How do I engage these players? What makes them tick? What makes them excited about playing? The min-maxer, you can use all these terms as pejorative. The actor, the storyteller, actor hates rolling dice. The storyteller has to make it all about themselves. The min-maxer doesn't care about roleplay. But that's not what it's for. The list is at its best when you're thinking about, I have a min-max player. How do I make him happy? I give him an opportunity to be awesome. I have a storyteller player. How do I make them happy? A lot of the times you give them the tragic end they so desperately desire. How do I make the actor player happy? And make sure to give them a scene to chew on. You're trying to service those people. And the difference, I think, in trying to put DMs into styles is that at that point, it becomes advertising. In the example Matt Colville listed in his video, he's saying if somebody asks you, what type of DM are you? How do you respond? I don't think I could until my players, in particular those who've played in lots of games, would tell me what makes my games, what makes them be a Daði joint. I think only then I'd actually believe in the description used to describe it. By which I mean, like, if one of my players, somebody who's played a lot with lots of DMs, if they said, Daði, the thing you care about most is world building, I'd probably go, yeah, you're probably right. That seems accurate. Or maybe, having said all that, I come back to the idea that maybe that is just who I am. I do care most about world building, and everything else, to me at least, is kind of secondary. Or maybe, despite that all being a deeply persuasive argument, maybe that's all nonsense too, because the more I think about it, the more AP's answer resonated with me. Not the fact about conspiracies or governments, but the fact that I spend a lot of time thinking about what the world is doing. What are the people doing? What are the nations doing? Is there a war brewing? I think about that more than anything else. Is that then my style? Or is that what I'm excited about, and therefore is my style? Or is it what I'm trying to compensate for, and therefore not my style, just the thing I put a lot of work into to make it more believable? I don't know. I think this is an exceptionally difficult topic to talk about, because we are not used to diagnosing ourselves. Because the list of players is diagnosing the other people at the table. I think if someone's going to make a video response to this, the person I'd be most interested to hear from is a player who's played lots of games with lots of DMs for long periods of time. Someone who's played full campaigns with many different people. That's the person that should be making this list. And that could be you. I don't know. To be honest, when I first watched Matt's video talking about DM styles, I thought, somebody should make that list. I could make that list. I could make a D&D has 12 types of DMs, actually. Might even get some views. Then I started writing, and I couldn't get a single word out. I couldn't write down a single type of DM. I didn't feel legit. I felt like that would be weird. I didn't know why, but now I think it's because I don't think it's up to me. I think I DM too much. And even if I didn't think I DM too much, I thought I was too close to the subject matter. I kept trying to insert either my opinions or my grievances into the list. I don't like DMs that do this, so I'm gonna say those are the one of the types of DMs, the people who do this stupid thing. Blah. I don't want to do that. That doesn't seem fun. So, I don't know. Something to think about. I don't have a point. I just think it's difficult to define, and I think I'm the wrong person for it. But if you think you're the right person, go ahead and make a list. Tell me what you think. Put it in the comments or come join our Discord, because that's where we're going to pick it up next time. This channel is run by me and my girlfriend, and if you want to support us directly, come check out our Patreon. Patrons get access to our Discord, our monthly PDF, the broadsheet, our digital magazine, which is somewhere around 50 pages typically. And until next time, keep studying the mystic arts.